Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about field groups. It's an old topic for Business Central developers, um, but it gets an update with um, Business Central 2023 Wave 2, and I thought this is a good opportunity to. One is, how did we work with field groups in Dynamics NAV? Two, prior to September 2023, Business Central 2023 Wave 2, um, how did we work with field groups? And from October 2023, what can we do around field groups? Thank you, and let's get going. Let's go through a quick example for Dynamics NAV. Let's assume that being given the customer card, we can see here in the payments that we have payment terms code, one of the fields, and it has displaying right now the code, description, and the due date calculation. But let's say that we want to add a new field here, a new field or an existing field. How do we do that? The users want to see more than that. Obviously, when you click on advanced, you're going to get a list of all the fields in this table, payment terms, but we don't want to see all when we click on the drop down. We only want to see the three existing ones and a fourth one. So how do we go about that? First, we're talking about payment terms page, which has as base payment terms table. And if we look at payment terms, there is a table number 3. I have here a bunch of fields, and let's say we want to add a new field to the field groups. First, how do we get to the field groups? In the view, we have field groups, and you can see the drop down. This is one type of field group for RTC and for web client, and brick is for mobile applications. So let's say we want to add for the RTC, we want to add one more field, and we're clicking here and we select another field, which is, let's say, we have code, description, and due date, and let's add discount. Let's compile, and opening up the card, we look at payment terms code, and we can see that the discount is now another field, an additional field in the field group, the discount percentage. So yes, that's how easy it is to add an additional field in the field group in Dynamics NAV. Okay, so we saw in Dynamics NAV how cool things were when through the development environment we could control what fields to add in the field groups. Let's see how Microsoft migrated that functionality in Visual Studio Code and DAL. I have here a project and I downloaded the symbols. The platform is 22.5 and the application is 22.5. And if we look at base application, let's look at payment terms first. We search for field group, and right after the keys we have the field groups. And again, just like in NAV, Dynamics NAV, we have a drop down field group and a brick field group. The drop-down field group has the code description and due date calculation fields. So let's show how we can add the discount percentage from our extension as a fourth field to the field group drop-down. To do that, we need to create a table extension. Let's create a table. Let's give it a number. Let's give it a name. Let's prefix it. And that should be it. The way we add the field is in the field groups section, we specify which field group, and you see the keyword add last here. We're going to add the new field as the last field in the drop down discount. We're going to add the field group in the field group drop down, the field discount percentage on the last position. This is not needed. This is also not needed. Compile and deploy. And let's look at the customer. And in the payments fast tab, we can see the discount on the last position. The other thing, so this is how easy it is to add a new field to the field group, and the field can be an existing field, or we can add a new field. Let's add here a new field. Let's say a Boolean field, a caption, locked. That's not needed. And then let's add the new field here. So what did we have? What did we get here? On the base application drop down field group, we're going to add our own field from our extension and an existing field from the base application. So let's see how that looks like. We can see now to the fields that were added by Microsoft in the drop-down field group, code description and due date calculation, we have now the field blocked, which is my field, and the field discount. And the last thing that I want to talk about for the current state of field groups in AL, I want to show you one table. Let's say territory, table 286. As you can see, the field groups section is missing here. So what if in my extension I want to add a few fields, but notice how Microsoft did not add any field group for this table. and it does make sense because by default we have two fields here and both fields will be shown. Let's add the field territory code because we know this field exists on the on the customer card, on the customer table. It's field 15. Let's add this field 15 on the customer card. So let's create here a new page. And what we want to do is we want to add we want to add after where do we want to put that? We want to add it after zip code. So we're gonna add territory code after postal code, and let's see it. We can see now the territory code after the postal code. And if I go, even though there is no field group defined in the territory code, territory table, you can see that the fields code and name are anyways displayed on the drop down. Yeah, what if we want to add a new field to the territory table, and what if we want to display that field into the field group? Let's try it. Let's name it territory extension, and let's add a field here. Let's give it a number, and let's name it SV blocked, which is a boolean, and caption blocked. And then in the field groups section, we learned that we need to do add last. But we can't really add it here. It says the error, the field group dropdown is not found in the target territory, which is correct. We don't have a territory in the territory table we don't have the drop down. We saw it. Let's see it one more time. Territory, there is no field group, so we get a compiler error. If we want to add a field in runtime 11 on 22.5 platform and application, we cannot add it. All right, this is what I wanted to cover for the current Business Central, which is Business Central 2023 Wave 1. The last minor is 22.5, which is what I downloaded here. What did we do? We added a field in the payment terms, and we added it in the drop down for the payment terms, and we also added a discount percentage, which is an existing field in the base application, and we saw both of them on the drop down. And the other attempt we had, we added field territory code. It's an existing field on the customer card, and we saw the field and we wanted to enhance that field with one more field in the territory table called blocked, and we wanted to add it to the drop down, but we can't. That was the limitation, and we'll see how in Business Central 2023 Wave 2 that limitation was addressed. So let's have a look next. Okay, so to be able to see the changes for BC 2023 Wave 2, we need to change. I created a new project, a new app ID. I changed the range because I had some other extensions playing in the 5100. I changed the runtime to 12 because this is a runtime for BC Wave 2023 Wave 2, and of course I also added I switched to the pre-release version of AL language compiler, and we can see version 13 here. All right, so last time we left the exercise, the previous exercise, we saw that we had a compiler on drop down. Okay, so let's create a drop down filter group, and what fields should we pick from the territory? Well, we have the fields code and name, and I want to stick with those, but also add my field. Let's compile and let's publish. And clicking on the drop down, we can see now the code, the name, and the blocked. This is my field. Blocked is my field that I added in my extension. So we saw that basically, even though the tutorial did not have any filter group, we were able to add it in our extension, the drop down, and we added the existing fields and also our field. The last exercise related to field groups is, let's create another app and let's add a different field into the territory extension, and let's add that second field to the drop down. Open up a new VS Code and let's start with a new project. Let's put 2023 release wave 2, runtime 12, and let's make this on half of the screen. I'm gonna copy and paste a few files. let's remove and let's change the name of the application, and we can leave the rest. Maybe change the range. Let's download the symbols. They are quickly downloaded. One more. And then let's take the territory table extension and let's name the second field flooded. And let's add this new field in the dropdown. Let's see how the dropdown is going to look like with this new field. Opening up the customer card, we go down to the territory code, and we can see that now we have the flooded added and the blocked was from the other app. The last experiment I want to run through today is what if in the second application I only add my field. And let's publish. And when we go to the customer card and select the drop down, we see our field coming first. Flooded was added in the app 2, but we also see the fields that are in the field group defined by app 1. So field group drop down was introduced by app 1, code name and blocked, and flooded was introduced by app 2. So we do see all the fields. It's just that we don't really see them in the right order. And I think the order is to do with the app ID. Somehow is considering app 2 first, and then app 1. That's why we see the field introduced by app 2 first, and then the field group introduced by app 1. It's kind of similar to how subscribers to events are executed, but I don't have a proof. It's just a hunch. Okay, so in this last part, what did we do? So in the first app, we added one field blocked, and we added it after the base app fields, code and name. In the second app, we added a field in the territory table extension, flooded boolean, and we added it to at the end of the drop down, add last in drop down. Drop down does not exist. The result was that when we click on the field, the drop down field, we see the new field added. Thank you for sticking with me for half an hour. What did we cover today? We covered field groups today. Why do we cover field groups today? Because Microsoft is bringing some new stuff around field groups. We covered field groups as they were in Dynamics NAV. We covered field groups in Business Central up to version 2023 Wave 2, and we went over what's going to happen in Business Central Wave 2 with field groups. Thank you for watching. Write down in the comment section below if you have any ideas for any new topic, or if you have questions regarding what you saw. It helps with my work here on YouTube. If you subscribe or if you comment. See you soon.